What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're talking about The Post, Proud Mary, NBA Playgrounds, Batman Arkham Asylum, Strawberry Milkshake Pop-Tarts, and we'll look forward to some of the week's new releases. Our first movie this week is The Post, which is a very good movie that covers a subject that I didn't know a ton about in the release of the Pentagon Papers. I think this movie has a lot going for it that's very positive. I think it has a few drawbacks as well. It's hard to argue with a movie that, one, makes me excited about the prospect of learning about a printing press, and two, has Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, two of the best actors working today and possibly, I should say, ever. I really like the cinematography of this particular movie, the way it tracked through the journalist writer's room. I can't remember what they call it, but it follows down aisles and in between desks, in and out of rooms, which is super interesting to me. I'm a big fan of cinematography. I like the characters' relationships, specifically Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. Their first conversation is one very long shot of them conversing and talking over each other and kind of interrupting each other. And you get a sense that they really do understand each other, even if maybe they aren't on the same page all the time, specifically in regards to, I forget what they were talking about. I think it was something about fashion, I believe. I could be wrong on that, so feel free to comment down below and tell me how wrong I am. Another thing that really stuck out to me was, continuing that last thought I had, was not only characters' interactions with each other, but the characters' interactions with people in Washington, and kind of questioning their motivations and how do their interactions with people in Washington, specifically with Tom Hanks' character and John F. Kennedy, how does that affect their coverage of them in the newspaper? They kind of talk about, like, do you pull punches when you talk about this particular person? Are you protecting them from this? Because the Pentagon Papers make so many different people look bad, including, JFK and things of that nature. So I thought that was very interesting. I think there's a nice sprinkle of humor throughout the movie, including a very funny visual gag regarding a lemonade stand, which I found very humorous. The one thing I would say that's maybe kind of a negative in this particular movie is the ending wraps up really quickly. And I guess it's hard to argue because it is much more about the decision and the characters leading up to this decision and how they kind of struggle back and forth. But I think there is more to tell as far as the consequences are concerned with this particular decision. And they kind of wrap it up in a pretty neat way. There's also a super weird ending sequence that I didn't quite understand. Again, I don't know a ton about this time period, so it's kind of hard maybe for me to put the pieces together, but I bet that there are tons of people out there who go like, oh man, like, it's cool that they incorporated this extra little piece of information. But for me personally, again, not knowing much, it threw me off a little bit because I just wasn't exactly sure what they were trying to get at. But again, it's really hard to argue against Steven Spielberg directed, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep starring movie. I do highly recommend this movie. I think you should check it out. It's not anything terribly special, so if you're not interested, I don't think you're missing anything remarkable, but give it a shot. Our second movie this week is Proud Mary. An okay action movie that definitely has some drawbacks, but it has a couple positives too. I think that even though it's tonally inconsistent with the rest of the movie, the final action sequence is pretty well done for the most part. It looks cool. Taraji P. Henson gets to be awesome, which she is. Go watch Hidden Figures. And I think its short runtime is definitely a benefit. It runs about 95 minutes. It gets in, gets out, tells the story it wants to tell. Part of the problem with that is I don't really understand all the pieces at play, and I don't understand one of the storylines just seems like it's just there to be there, and it's like a major part of the movie. And I wish they would have taken more time to explain the relationship between Mary and the kid and their bonding, and less time with this impending war that they kind of reference a few different times. I like the way the backstories for Mary and the son kind of work with each other and gives them more understanding of each other that allows them to bond. There are two great scenes with them, one of them getting a hot dog, and the final little sequence of the movie where they're trying to decide where they want to go. I guess that's probably a spoiler. Oops. Overall, I think it's fine. I don't think you need to rush out and see it, but if you're interested, maybe check it out. you don't have to necessarily see it in the theater. You could wait until it comes out on Blu-ray. Our first game this week is NBA Playgrounds, which is an arcade basketball game that wants to be NBA Jam or NBA Street, but just doesn't quite get to those levels by a very large margin. I stuck with this game a little bit longer than I probably would have because of the achievements. I was pretty close on some of them, and it's a fairly easy list except for a few. I got about 800 gamer score for those of you who are curious. I also dunked an absurd amount with John Stockton, an NBA player who dunked, I think, one time in his 97-year NBA career. That's an exaggeration. I think he played for 18. Anyway, it's an arcade game. It wants to be fun and kind of ridiculous, but it just isn't interesting enough. It doesn't really have that much of an identity. It just feels like a wannabe, which is fine if you're a Spice Girls song, but if you're a basketball game, it leaves a lot to be desired. There were a lot of times where I felt like I was in position to block a shot or affect the shot or whatever, but for some reason they just ran right past me. And I don't know exactly, maybe it's just because I suck at video games. That's totally possible. You could show me MLG footage of this stuff and I'll be like, cool, man. That's awesome. Doesn't change the fact that it's a mediocre game. Another gripe I have with this game is that it punishes you for shooting threes. There's a meter up in the top right or top left-hand corner, depending on which team you're on, that fills up when you do things like dunks or alley-oops or layups. It doesn't fill up at all when you get threes. What's important about this is the fact that once you fill the meter up, it gives you a lottery power-up, which can range from anything from shortening your opponent's shot clock, which feels a little overpowered, to an automatic shot that will go in no matter what. Are you shooting a three with Shaq on the other side of the court? He's going to make it. That's how powerful this ball is. They fly it in special, they drop it on the court. Shaq's shooting threes 90 feet away. It's great. None of the power-ups are super interesting, though, and some of them kind of feel like game breakers. I alluded to the shortening of the shot clock power-up, which the shot clock's only 12 seconds in the first place, but because the computer isn't very good, or at least I was playing on the easy difficulty, if you're behind, it's easy to catch up, which is great, but if you are ahead by as many, or as few as 3 or 4 points, you can really elongate that lead and make the game kind of feel kind of cheap and easy. I don't know. If you like super arcadey basketball games, go ahead and give this one a shot. Maybe find it on sale, download it from the Xbox, using the Xbox Game Pass, and give it a shot. Maybe they'll get enough buzz to do a sequel, and they can improve some things and make something that's a little bit better. I think one of the big things that it does well is a wide variety of players. You can use John Stockton. I had people even older than that. I had Moses Malone. I was using him for a while. So that's pretty cool. Just a supremely okay game. Our second game this week is Batman Arkham Asylum, a game I'm playing through the Return to Arkham collection on the Xbox One. The game originally came out in 2009, so there's probably not a ton to say about it, so I'll just quickly go through a few points. 1, this game is totally awesome. It's as great as I remember. 2, Mark Hamill is the greatest Joker ever. 3, it looks great, plays great. If you've played it and you want to play it again, definitely check it out on the Return to Arkham collection. If you somehow missed this game, definitely try it out. Even if you don't like Batman, this game is fantastic. I'm going to continue my playthrough. I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 hours in or so. What I want to do is just clear all the map, get through the story stuff, and then probably move on to Arkham City and Arkham Knight, which is sitting behind me on the shelf, and I might also check out Arkham Origins. So look for more reviews on that stuff in the future, but right now, Arkham Asylum is 2 big thumbs up. Our final segment this week is the Limited Edition segment, where I go out and buy something limited edition and try it out here on the show. This week, Strawberry Milkshake Pop-Tarts. I'm pretty pumped about these. I'm a big fan of strawberry flavored things. I don't really like milkshakes all that much, unless they're orange. But I like Pop-Tart flavors, so we'll give these a whirl. So here they are. Plain, regular Pop-Tart packaging, nothing special. Minus 1 point, I guess. We're not rating these. Pop them out. I can't. This is going to be some good audio, I bet. They look really good. Those look really good. Let's see if the camera picks up how pink they are. Nice little confetti there. Break it. Or we'll break it open on camera for you. Ooh. That looks Those look really good. It's kind of late for me to be eating these tonight, but that's okay. They smell like regular strawberry Pop-Tarts. Kind of no duh. Give it a little, ooh. Different, it looks like a different type of filling. It looks more of like a frosting than the other ones look like, kind of like a jelly. Well, I really like those. Those are very good. I'm a big fan of strawberry things, as I was kind of saying earlier, so it is a little more steered towards my personal joys and interests. So those are some thoughts on the strawberry milkshake Pop-Tarts. They're very good. If they made these a regular, I would be a buyer. So go ahead and check those out if you are interested. I would recommend them. The final part of this episode and every episode is looking ahead at a few releases that I'm interested hitting shelves or theaters this week. In theaters here in Spokane is The Shape of Water, which I'm sure has been out for like a month in smaller or larger markets, not smaller markets, in larger markets. I had kind of a weird, like, I didn't really care about this movie when I first saw the trailer for it, but I've seen a few more and I've kind of turned on it, so maybe I'll give that a try. It also picked up 13 Academy Award nominations because I'm recording this on the day that those nominations were announced. On Blu-ray this week is a movie called The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Yes, I got the title right. Movie by the director of The Lobster. This one's more of like a psychological horror movie. The preview looked interesting enough for me to kind of go out of my normal genre wheelhouse when I went to see The Florida Project. So I might give that a try a few weeks down the road. On the game side, there's one game coming out this week. It's Telltale's Batman Season 2, Episode 4. Yes, that's a jumble of words, but it's what I'm looking forward to. So I'll probably actually play that tomorrow. And we'll have impressions for you next week. So thank you so much for joining me here on the inaugural episode of Week in Review. My name is Sean. If you have questions, comments, concerns, if you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button, which is somewhere. I'm just kind of pointing. Hit that so I'll be in your feed and you can see my beautiful face as I make videos for your entertainment. We'll see you next week for more movie and game coverage. Like and subscribe.